congratulating you on such a great film. And I mean, first, also congratulate you for the premiere at South by Southwest. And got a lot of attention.
Yeah, we did. That was terrifying. The night before South by Southwest was like, what have I done? Like, I can't take it back. It's out there. And then the next morning, I have really good friends, so they didn't let me look at the internet all day till like nighttime. They only gave me like 30 minutes, like 10 minutes. Like, okay, now you can read, and done. And that was cool. It was fun.
Congratulations. You got a lot of recognition.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, well, it was a group effort, you know, the movie, the team, the talent, it was really good. It was fun to, after so many years of like struggling to get this out there, to like have that for them, you know.
So many years. Okay, so how long did it take you to put it together? Writer, director, producer?
I wrote the script in 2018, I shot it in 2019, and then pandemic happened. So we were in post through 2020, and then we came out in 2021. So I think all in, but it would be about 4 years by the time it comes out, which is October 18th on HBO Max.
What was it that inspired you to write the story? Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, of course. It was a conversation that I had with my mom. You know, I'd come to her one holiday season, like really, really kind of broken down by the industry and really sad to tell her I'm following all the rules, I'm doing everything that I was told to do, and I'm not complaining, I'm working really hard like you always told me to. She raised me with that immigrant grit of, keep your head down and keep going. And so I was doing all that stuff, the don't cry and all the things that she told me growing up, and it just wasn't working. So then, of course, I thought, well, then if I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do and it's not working, it's just because I'm not that good. And so I had to go home and tell her, I'm sorry that I went down this rabbit hole. I'm sorry that we've spent all our money trying to figure this out. I'm sorry that I've failed you, essentially. And I'm ready, I think it's over. And she was just like, kind of like, I don't know. She like looked at me and was like, what do you know? And told me what happened to her in the 60s and 70s, that she was trying my age to be in the real estate industry. And it was very, very similar stories. They're almost verbatim. And once she told me everything, I like laughed and cried. I was like, this is insane. How is this still happening? How are you alive? Are you okay? Like, who are you? She showed me receipts. She showed me documents. And so the fact that like everything she was telling me was so much similar to what I was telling her, just like 60 years apart, I was like, well, here's the hero story. This is the hero story that I've been looking for. And so I made the movie to kind of reflect that conversation I had with her. So when we're breaking the fourth wall, those are very much the moments that I had with my mom.
That's unbelievable. You had the story all along at home.
At home. Isn't that like The Alchemist? You go out looking for gold and you come back and it's like right under your feet. Yeah.
Indeed. That's amazing. So did you go to her when it came to doing part of the writing?
Yeah, I showed her the script, and she gave me a couple. So it's not fully. It obviously takes a lot of liberties because it has to, because it's dramatic. Right. It's a dramatic piece. It's not a documentary. So I walked through a couple of scenarios, like stories that she had told me, and said, okay, this is how we're gonna tell that. Like, how do you feel about that? And she basically was like, it's your story too, because what you're going through, I can't speak to that. So she helped and also like encouraged me to really like put my story there as well.
You answered my question. Why you picked the 60s? Did you at any moment consider changing it to a different period, or?
No, I didn't, because it was her story and my story. Like, they're in the 60s because that's more or less her time period. She was a little bit older. It was more like she was around 1973, 1972 around. So I just shifted it a little bit because it was the same events. Mm-hmm. And then we got two time periods, right? We got 1967, and up to 73. And then we also had 2021, because every time they break the fourth wall, they're breaking the fourth dimension, and they're in 2021. So we got both time periods.
Wow, that is amazing. But I mean, I don't know how much of that story that you got from your mom and you put in, but you also covered so many topics and you juggle them so well. I mean, there's pro-choice, and the one that I wasn't anticipating was the issue when it comes to military. How did you juggle all this so well?
By placing ourselves in the shoes of that time period. So these people are dealing, these characters, you know, when you said the military, Bryan Craig, who played that character, he's dealing with what he would be dealing with at that time. The same way in our world, you know, we would be dealing with a world post 9/11. That's just part of our world. So it wasn't like so much of a, well, let's put this in there because it's cool. It was this is, if you were a tanner woman of this time period, these are the realities of your everyday life. Mm-hmm. If you were a young man of this time period, you probably went to Vietnam or know someone who did and didn't come back, and you probably came back with some deep pains and things that at the time and even now we don't really help anybody with. So it was very much about, it was very much about just, it wasn't so much of a balance, honestly. It was just like reality. It was just reality. It was just like, if you're portraying this time period, this is a reality. And I think the reason it's coming across is like, how did you do all these things? It's because we've seen this time period so many times in film and television, and it doesn't talk about this stuff. It's not in a setting in the 60s and 70s of America that we've seen on film that often, if at all, really. And so like we have this romanticized, I know I had a romanticized version of what the 60s and 70s were, flower power, blah, 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 especially in San Francisco. And that's one demographic of the 60s and 70s and one social class of the 60s and 70s. There's a lot of other people that were not living that world, that were not living that lifestyle. And it was really hard for them. So I wanted to show that side of that time period.
It amazes me, and from your film, I got to learn how limited women were because they were single, because they were independent. That's amazing.
No, thank you. Thank you, because that was one of the things that we wanted to hopefully have people come out from that, because I didn't know. I wasn't educated towards these things. As we came on set and all the actors and we all kind of worked together, we were learning these things, and it's insane, like not being able to own a credit card, not being able to start a business, like this guardianship that existed seems so foreign, but yet it's not so far from our time period, and it seems to be where we're going again. And yeah, it was important to know, because I felt so uneducated when she told me those things. I was like, wow, did I not know this? Oh my God, I have to go vote. And so, so I was like, okay, I want to put this in there for that reason.
Now let's talk about your work as a director.
Yeah, please.
The first part, the way and you introduce the characters, how did you come up with that concept?
Necessity. The same way I didn't know any of the stuff that my mom was saying. That was the same way I was like, well, if I have her go into a bank and he doesn't break the fourth wall to tell us why she's not getting this loan, like we're not going to know, because these are unsaid truths. These are unsaid truths. These are unsaid rules. They're under the table. They're not said blatantly anymore. They were at the time, but anymore they're not said. Even if they're still happening, they're happening under the table. So it was saying those unsaid truths out loud. That was the purpose of the fourth wall breaking. And it's been done in films forever, from Goodfellas to, oh God, what's the movie with Margot Robbie about finances? I can't remember. Madison was the where she's like in the bathtub and she does the fourth wall break to like give you a dialogue of like everything that happened in the financial crisis. So it's a tool that we get used to, like that gets used to tell people that the character is in on the joke, and also to like explain a lot of stuff that we might not have a lot of context for. So from the very beginning.
And also you including the part where the camera work, you're like, well, this is what we built. You work with what you have.
Yeah, well, because the movie was meta. This movie is created because of the circumstances in the movie. So everything Celina's going through is what we were going through behind the scenes between the actors. Like the cameras, the locations, me, like the financing, it was the same thing. Like I've sat in front of that bank scene. My banks look different, right? And in my industry, but we've all, and everybody that came to the story, like the cast, the crew, Farhad Dahelvi, who's our cinematographer, he's incredible. You know, we all had a version of the story that we wanted to tell for ourselves because we'd been through something like this. And that was awesome because it was like this art piece that we all had a little bit that we wanted to contribute to. And like, I've been through that this way. I've been through that this way. And now when we watch it with audience members without fail, everyone wants to say, that's how I felt. I've been through a situation like that, or I haven't been through a situation like that. And the stories that we've heard after screenings have been real tough ones, really interesting ones. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
And let's talk about the cast and what a flattering thing it must have felt when I understand that Lorenza.
Yeah, she came to me and she's like, I really love the story. I want to be a part of it in any way I can and helping, just any way that I can. And some people would shy away from that, and I didn't, because that is so helpful. And it's so wonderful to not have to be the only person in the room. For someone that wants, especially for this character, like Celina is in every frame of the movie, for her to take that like agency of not only the character, but some agency and being like, I want to be a part of seeing this through, was just such a Celina move, you know, and she's an incredibly brave actress. She had a lot to do on this story. Like, we didn't have the glitz and the glam of other sets, you know, because we were working with very, very tight numbers, and she was a trooper. She went through all of it. And, you know, that I would always say that opening scene, like, if you want to even look at her versatility, like, she is handing off life props. She is giving a monologue about American history. She's walking downstairs, some pretty steep stairs. She's changing her clothing. She's changing her hair. She's converting from the character from 1973 that's a woman with a child to a young adolescent of 1967 being naive, all within 2 minutes. Like, Lorenza Izzo, everybody. Like, she's incredible. And, you know, we worked through that. We worked through that together. We worked through a lot of the stuff together. But I got really lucky with this cast. I did. Bryan Craig was incredible, played Mateo. You know, Chrissie Fit, who everyone knows from Pitch Perfect, she came in. She was the only person that read for Marty. I didn't read anybody else after her because she was incredible. And Simu Liu, who that character was actually a lot older at first. He was in his 60s. And after I watched him in Kim's Convenience, I changed the character age for him. And, you know, Bauer, we had Bauer there, which was awesome for us. Alejandro Miranda, who's like royalty out in South America. I just, like, I can't even say the Liza Weil, Cranston Johnson, like, I was a kid in a candy store. That was lots of fun.
So what was it like when your mom watched the film? Did you watch it with her?
Yeah, she watched it at Christmas with me. And she got really quiet. Like, she didn't say much. She just got really quiet. And I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, that was the person that, like, if they didn't like it, I was like, okay, I won't release it, or whatever it was. But she just didn't say anything. My mom's a chatterbox. I'm a chatterbox. She's, forget it, 3 times worse than I am. And for her to go silent was too much. I was like, you have to tell me what's happening in your brain. And she just said, good, now they'll know. You know, good, now they'll know. And what she meant by that is I think what she would want people to take away from this movie is that it's okay to acknowledge your setbacks. It's okay to acknowledge your obstacles. It doesn't make you a victim. You have to just, if you don't acknowledge that there's a brick wall in your way, how are you supposed to get around it? And that was something that she told me. She's like, you're hitting your head because you just won't acknowledge that these things are happening. And, you know, I've always, like, been very positive and not wanting to, like, think about any of that stuff, because if I think about it, but it's okay to look. It's okay to say, this is not okay, and acknowledge these things and say them out loud. And so she wants that, you know, she wants people to look at it and go, okay, these things are happening, but I can still believe in myself. I can still stand up. I can still get up. I can still do things. I'm a smart, capable human being. This is what she wants people to leave this movie feeling. I'm a smart, capable human being, and I can do it. Whatever it is, I can do it. It might be hard, but if you're persistent, you can do it. So that was what her reaction was when she saw it. And I was like, whew, good, pass the assignment. So yeah.
Well, Lisette, what's next for you? Are you gonna, because you are an actress.
I am, yeah.
So now are you leaning towards more filmmaking now that you got your heart in it for a few years, or just gonna be in between?
Yeah, it's a project by project basis. So we have a couple of TV shows that we are out with that will be a bigger playing field for some of the talent and the people that we got to meet along the way for this project. Either made it in or didn't make it into the film. I wanted to find a bigger playground for all of these like types of stories and like the same hope and the same energy and tone. So probably a few TV shows. I will be hopefully making another movie very soon. I can't say anything yet. And then in terms of acting, I've been out of it for 4 years while I was making this movie. So it's shifted significantly, and I'm excited to be back in that bucket and back in that lane for a little while. It'd be nice to not have to like do everything all at once, all the steps. But yeah, I actually like went out a couple of times recently, and they had to be like, "You're back." I was like, I'm sorry, I had to go away for like 4 years because I was doing this thing, and I was like, oh, well, like everything's different now. It's fun. We'll see. It'll be a project by project basis.
Well, that's great. Congratulations, Lisette. You're a smart woman, and you continue the good work.
Thank you so much. It was really nice meeting you, and I appreciate this. And I hope your audience, everybody gets to see it on HBO Max October 18th.
October 18th. Everyone else will be watching. Thank you so much.
Bye. Nice to meet you.